We just got confirmation that Legolas, Gimli, and Gandalf the Grey are coming to the game. Hopefully very, very soon. It is officially Fellowship Month for July. So we're going to break down what that means, and we have the kit reveals for Legolas and Gimli. So stay tuned. A lot of that coming up in just 1 second. Now, for the sake of time, I'm not going to read through every single bit of information here. Their main post about the Fellowship Month is a lot of lore and behind the scenes, or behind the, character, I guess, as to what their interaction was with the Fellowship, with it being Fellowship Month. So if you go through it, says Legolas, Prince of Mirkwood, volunteered to accompany Frodo on a perilous journey. He's representing the elf, etc. And it goes through and it says kind of the same things for Gimli and Gandalf, obviously respectively, with their own information put in. But we do get confirmation that it's going to be Fellowship Month featuring Legolas, Gimli, and Gandalf. But I want to jump to the kit reveals because that's really where we get the most information. There aren't any significant dates or times in here yet. Again, we've been speculating. I would have to guess that they're going to drop Legolas and Gimli, probably in marquees, which I'm not super excited about, but we'll see. And then Gandalf, I'm guessing, will be a raid character. Let's go ahead and jump to the kits for Legolas and Gimli. All right, so in no particular order, we're going to look at Legolas first, who is going to be a marquee character. So this means if you want to unlock him at 5 stars, you'll need to spend about $120, but we don't know if they're going to be required for anything yet, or if this is just a Fellowship team coming out. So if they're not required for a legendary, then there's not as much pressure to unlock them. You can just give them 3 stars, but obviously depends on how good we think they'll be and if they'll be worth getting. But Legolas is going to be an attacker. He's going to have the elf tag, and he's going to have the Fellowship tag. It says he synergizes best with Gimli and Arwen. So being an elf, there is a chance, even though he doesn't have the Rivendell tag, that he could fit well with the Lord Elrond legendary team, but we'll see again how that works out. His character description says that the Prince of the Woodland Realm, this devastating attacker, becomes even stronger when fighting beside trusted allies. We have his basic right here, which is called Rapid Fire, and it says attack the target at the max level for 160% damage. On turn, Legolas also attacks the most wounded enemy for 110% damage. So kind of a way to avoid taunt. If there's someone who's very wounded and there's someone taunting, you're going to attack whoever's taunting and then attack the most wounded ally, which honestly is pretty good. We only have one other taunt avoid in Azhak in the entire game. So Legolas having a basic that does that is kind of freaking cool. So that is the basic Rapid Fire. Then we have Arrow Blade, which I'm not going to lie, has a pretty cool animation. I hope they keep working on these kind of things because you see Legolas run up, and in this image, he's running up on the Troll Brute and jumping off him and shooting him after using his blade as well. So this is called Arrow and Blade for a special one. And at the max level, you're going to attack the target 3 times for 120% damage per hit. Each crit dispels 1 boon and gain 1 stack of Nimble. So if there is a way for him to get more critical chance to land criticals in this hit, if he lands up to 3 criticals, he's going to dispel 3 boons, which depending on the army you're fighting, it could be huge. I mean, again, if you're using him in a mirror match against a Lord Elrond team, doing this on Elrond to dispel 3 stacks of Unbreakable is going to be pretty good. So a very interesting special one with a boon dispel up to 3, and he is going to gain stacks, I believe stacks of Nimble per hit as well. It says stack with S in parentheses here. So I'm assuming he can gain several stacks, but it's put after, like in its own sentence. So maybe it's just 1 stack, but either way, a stack of Nimble with some boon dispel is pretty cool. The next one is called Perfect Shot, and this one he looks to have a team up attack with Gimli, so he jumps up off of Gimli there and shoots from the sky. This says at the max level here that you're going to attack the target for 460% damage. This attack ignores 50% of the target's armor. On kill, gain 100% turn meter. If Gimli is an ally, this attack has plus 30% crit chance and plus 50% crit damage. So a huge damaging attack here. 460 is a good amount. Depending on his attack stat, he could be a higher or mid-range. We don't know. If he ends up being one of the higher attackers in the game, 460 ignoring armor with a guaranteed like another turn if you get a kill, used correctly, this could be very, very cool. Now it is going to cost 5 stamina, so it's going to be on a longer cooldown and start on a cooldown of 3, but still pretty cool team up attack there with Gimli. Then lastly for Legolas, we have his passive. It says gain 5% crit chance, an additional 4% crit chance per boon on self. On crit, grant advantage for 2 turns to a random Fellowship or elf ally. Now advantage guarantees critical hits, so this is that critical chance that he kind of needs. Just at first glance, I feel like he could fit into the Elrond squad fantastically because he's going to get a lot of boons, which means he'll do more critical hits, which means he'll do more damage, and he'll be granting advantage to the rest of the squad that are elves and more damage by them. It all kind of fits together. So I'm sure that's what a lot of people will do, but I think there's going to end up being a Fellowship team, obviously. So That's Legolas, who honestly looks pretty freaking cool off the bat. So let's go ahead and look at Gimli now. All right, so next up, Gimli. He is a tank dwarf and has the fellowship tag. It says he's going to be best with Legolas and Fili. Now, we don't have a full dwarven team, but that could change at some point. So maybe there's potential for these both to be played with their own races, but it makes sense that eventually there'll be a fellowship team that might, bring several factions together to make one very powerful team. For his description, it says, strong and steadfast, Gimli, son of Gloin, is the fellowship's stubborn brawler who can withstand heavy damage and deal it back in kind. So we're going to get a very solid tank here. His basic being heavy hands, which again, we have seen some of Gimli in some of the battles of the game, so maybe not as surprising with him, but heavy hands, it says, attack the enemy target for 180% damage and gain might for 1 turn. So a guaranteed might grant on the basic, not a bad thing at all there. Next is Deadly Throw. Deadly Throw at the max level is going to attack the enemy target for 380% damage and inflict weaken for 2 turns. Weaken, reducing the damage that the enemy can do. So if used on heavy damage dealers for 2 turns, unless they can cleanse that, that's pretty significant. So weaken 2 turns, 380% damage, not bad damage at all here. It's a 3 stamina cost. So again, you can start out the battle. It'll start ready to use for special 1. So you could target a heavy damage character and give yourself a big advantage starting out. Next up is Dwarven Defiance, and I don't know if it's just me, but there's not really a video for this one. It's not working, but it's, I believe, the one where he taunts, if you guys have seen it in the game. But it says at max level, he's going to gain 4 stacks to provoke, gain 3 stacks of regeneration for 2 turns to self and 2 most wounded allies, grant 2 stacks of defensive to 2 most wounded fellowship and dwarf allies. So again, we see a little bit of synergy with their specific race, and again with the fellowship as well, which I think will be their kind of long-term home, but we could see some interesting teams between both these characters, either used together or apart. Now, before we talk about his passive, I will say Gimli does not have anything in his kit that mentions Legolas, so it's just Legolas that has the team up with Gimli. Obviously, all their fellowship tags they share, they will benefit from those, but again, there's no specific team up ability between Legolas and Gimli on Gimli's side. It's just Legolas that does have that. Now for the passive, it's a little bit of a long one here, so buckle in. At max level, it says when a fellowship or dwarf ally drops below 75% health, retaliate against the attacker, dealing plus 75% bonus damage. This can trigger once per squad member. During retaliate, gain 1 stack of provoke and grant 1 stack of defensive to the ally who triggered retaliate. So it's kind of crazy because you attack anybody other than Gimli and get them below 75% health. He's going to retaliate, he's going to provoke, so you can't keep hitting them. It's going to be a bigger hit on the retaliate with the bonus damage. Then he's going to give himself might through his basic being used, which then means on his turn, or if he retaliates again, he's just going to hit harder. So a very interesting and protective passive for Gimli. Very, very cool. Again, we'll see exactly how they're meant to be used, but these are the initial looks we have at Gimli and Legolas, who again are confirmed to both be marquee characters. Now, we do have specific dates and times for Legolas and Gimli. We have July 10th through 17th. So as of this video going out, in 5 days, Legolas will be here for a week. And then the following week, July 17th through 24th, is when Gimli will be here. So I'm curious what you guys think. Again, we don't have any confirmation on Gandalf the Grey or when he's coming out. It says kit and details now between Legolas and Gimli are out now. Meanwhile, Gandalf the Grey's character kit is coming soon. So I'm not sure. Again, if I had to guess, he's going to be a part of the raid. I just hope the raid comes soon, because this will now mean we have had 4 marquee characters in the game before having actual content added. And I feel like they're walking a dangerous line here. So I really hope that raids get announced or confirmed, honestly, before the 10th. I think that'd be very good, because a lot of players are kind of wondering like why they should get these characters. Is it going to be worth spending? What are they going to be used for? Again, I think they sound very good, but right now they're not needed for a legendary like some of the other marquees were. So we'll see. Let me know down below if you are going to go after these characters. Are you going to wait and see what happens? Who are you most excited for between the bunch of Legolas, Gimli, and Gandalf the Grey? Again, it'll be very interesting to see who they fit with. I think the fellowship team could be very, very good. So let me know your thoughts. And as always, I'll see you guys in a future video.